All right, so this is our Mindset Mondays discussion here, where we go over the mental development that you need to crush the market. It's a low volume time frame, so perfect time to have a discussion to develop the mind. So all you guys who are tuned in here, um, you know, these are the things that separates the Wealth Wells Discord, separates me from other traders, no doubt about it. Um, I certainly have been down these roads and have the experience and the information to help you correct them. And I'm telling you right now, the strongest muscle is your mind. No doubt about it, hands down. And so I go over these discussion points here, these tips in our Mindset Mondays with the killer wells. We make it public to you guys here and there, but the killer wells they will get the specific tips and tricks every single Monday, right? And then sometimes that discussion is open to the public, like it is today, or put on our overall our podcast there, so that folks can kind of get the goods. All right. So I want to welcome everyone. Um, you know, a lot of times when you are trying to day trade, you sometimes you don't know where you need to start. You don't have you collect all this data, but you don't know really what you don't know, right? You don't know where to fine tune certain elements of your trading, and so that's what a coach, that's what a community, that's what development is for, and that's what this is. All right. Our topic for today is mindfulness trading. We're going to talk about this aspect of mindfulness, and the specific subject is distinguishing trading from gambling. Distinguishing trading from gambling. Which one are you? What are you doing? Right? Now, first of all, we need to understand what mindfulness is. All right. Now I did a video about it. You can find my channel on YouTube. You can find a video practicing mindfulness, right? And in short, mindfulness is the ability to stay conscious, to stay mentally focused while in a trade, right? It means you do some things to stay dialed in and focused on the trade. So you've got habits and patterns and certain things that you're going to do. It's called practicing mindfulness, right? Has this ever happened to you? Has someone ever been talking to you and maybe they're just, talking about something that you're disinterested in, and you may be face to face or on the phone, and you tune out for a minute? Maybe that's happening to you right now. You're not really, things aren't, maybe something's distracting to you right now, or maybe you're just not really focused and you're not really dialed in. All right. What will help you to realign and readjust is practicing mindfulness, tips and tricks to stay in the moment. All right. Stay in the moment. Now, this ideology is applied to day trading. All right. And I teach this strategy, practicing mindfulness in day trading. If you go watch that video, I give you some goods. Now, here are a few things you can do to practice mindfulness, right? Certain things like the levels on your screen, understanding the context of the market, taking a look around the market frequently, right? Not just looking at one chart to say, all right, where's my level and all that stuff, right? You can kind of get lost in a daze when you're doing that. But there are some things that you need to do. Talk yourself through a trade. Ask yourself what's happening in the market. Answer those questions. Journal. Write things down. There's certain things you do to practice mindfulness, to stay in a trade. All right. So the idea, though, is to develop your mind, keep your mind sharp so that you can have more of a cerebral trading ability. When you see the trade instinctively, you just immediately you take it. All right. So under this umbrella of mindfulness trading, we do need to identify, well, what's really trading and what's gambling, right? Like a person with some dice in their hands. Are you just, clicking on the mouse or hotkeys or whatever and getting in any trade just because you feel it? Or did you gather specific data that tells you to take the trade? All right. So there are some fundamental differences between trading and gambling. All right. There are fundamental differences. Now, the interesting thing is, it's not that different in respects to the house or the casino owner. Okay. So hear me out. Now, you've heard the phrase, and I'd like some participation. If you're listening to this at a later time, just nod your head, or if you're inside the Discord. All right, so hear me out. Have you ever heard the phrase, the house always wins. Have you heard that phrase before? Anybody, raise your hand if you've heard the phrase. The house always wins. Now, what do we mean by the house always wins? Anybody? Well, in short, it means that in gambling, the casino has a structured system in place to ultimately come out profitable. Am I right? True or true? In gambling, the casino has a structured format, a process, a system to ultimately come out profitable. Do you agree with that statement? All right. All right. Here's a gut-wrenching question though. And this may apply to you. You know how I roll. Does it prevent people from gambling? Even though they know that, does it prevent people from gambling? Right? No, it doesn't. Right? People still gamble. People still gamble. Now, why do people gamble? Why do people gamble? Anybody know the answer to that? Think deeply about it. Well, the main reason people gamble is they want to make money, right? They want to make money. And they want to make large sums of money from a small bet, and they believe they can do it. The second part of gambling is it's a thrill and it's fun, right? It's a thrill and it's just super fun for them. So there's two reasons why people gamble: money and the thrill. All right? All right? Yes. Yes. Okay, I see you guys responding there. Exactly. Exactly. All right. Now, so for a gambler, they're looking for looking for two things here. They're looking to get the excitement and they're looking for the money, right? Well, doesn't that sound like day trading? Doesn't that sound like, man, two feelings that you get when you day trade? You are looking to be what? Profitable, and you are looking for excitement. You're looking to enjoy what you do. True or true? Anybody? All right. Everyone's saying yes. Yes. Good, good, good. Okay. So we got some commonalities there, right? And you've even heard some folks. I know I have in my lifetime. I guess I'm old school now, right? It's so crazy how, the 80s and 90s are now old school, but whatever, I'll take it. But when I was growing up, the old school was the generation before. So the 60s, 50s, 70s, right? That was not so much the 70s, but, it was bleeding into the old school. Great music, right? Horrible dress, but great music, right? But I had uncles and aunts, but specifically uncles, family members, right? Now I grew up in the hood, right? So, investing and proper money management wasn't taught in the hood. Good people, great people, stand up, hardworking people, but was held back from the financial education. Maybe that's happened to you as well, right? The financial community, you could blame and put all kinds of things in there. You could say segregation. You could say separatism, racism, a caste system. All of these things exist around the world. No matter what you call it, it is the attempt to keep information from a group or a party, right? And that's just really what it was. So, no fault of their own, but growing up, a lot of folks say, well, that stock market is what? Gambling. Have you ever heard that? Maybe somebody in your family, an older person or somebody that, from an old school mentality said or felt like, that's gambling. Now, people have said that because they don't understand what the differences are, right? Now, we've just highlighted the commonalities, right? The house always wins in gambling from the casino owner. People gamble even though they know the house always wins because what? Two things. They want to make money and they want the thrill. But you know what ultimately they feel? You know what ultimately they feel? They feel like they're the exception. Now, have you ever felt that way? That you are the exception to the rule, right? The rule, I didn't make the rule up, right? So what's driving a person, they want to make money, they want the thrill, but ultimately deep down inside, they're like, you know what? I think maybe one day I'm going to hit it. I'm going to hit this thing, right? I'm going to make it big. So I'm the exception to the rule. I'm going to gamble. All right. So that's a few things that gambling and day trading have in common, right? So we look at day traders the same. Hey, they want to make money, they want the thrill. They know the overwhelming amount fail, right? They know it, but they're the exception. Now, I didn't make up the statistics, but you give me some feedback here. And if you're listening to this at a later time, hey, you can call me out on it now. Is it true that about 95 to 98% of day traders, investors, anybody in the stock market, about 90 something, 95, 92, 98, the metric changes within 3 points depending on the vertical that you're in, but we're going to say day traders. Isn't it true 95% fail at day trading? Isn't it true? Isn't that true? Anybody? Yeah, it's true. I didn't make that number up, did I? That number existed well before this Discord, well before the podcast, well before this education, right? All right. Okay. Then in your mind, something has triggered you to trade. What makes you different? I'm going to tell you right now, I'll get straight to it. Nothing makes you different if you're using lagging indicators, supply and demand, pattern trading, or everything else that everyone else is. Nothing makes you different. But at the core, even those traders who know deep down inside, man, the odds are stacked against me. I'm using the same system that all these other jabronis use, man. But, what do they say? I'm different, don't they? I have an edge. I've got a cheat code. I have something different, right? So the underlying fabric of gambling and day trading, there are some very glaring, very high similarities there. Okay. So the first thing you need to do is be honest and understand that there is a thin line between trading and gambling. All right. There's a thin line. Okay. And those are the similarities. What are the differences? What makes it different? All right. So in gambling, there is an advantage for the house no matter what. But when a person sits down at a table to gamble, there are times, for the most part, they do not know their outcome, do they? They don't know how much they can actually get. They don't know how sustainable they can be. They don't know how long they can do this unless they're cheating or they've got a fix. They're really only looking to hit big once or twice. Now greed kicks in, sends them back around, and they end up losing it all. But they don't know the defined outcome. They just hope to hit it big, right? They don't know it. Well, in trading, you can accurately define your outcome. You can say, you know what? I am going to develop my skills, and based on your skills, you are able to pull a specific amount of money out of the market on a regular basis. All right? You can do that. With gambling, because casino owns it and the house wins, you can't always do that. Right? Now there are professional gamblers, no doubt about it. But in professional gambling really involves people. It's not about gambling. Professional gamblers have been they're not just good at numbers and understanding the game, they're good at reading people. So remember that. Remember that. Professional gamblers they read the man. They don't read the table. They don't read the cards. They read the man. And they're excellent at doing that, which in turn allows them to be profitable in any type of gambling that involves human elements. All right? So you don't have professional slot players unless they got a fix on the machine, do you? You don't have a professional gambler in any game or any system that involves pulling a lever or some type of mechanics or some type of computing power. Why? Because the house will most definitely win. The only way to beat the house is you got to play games that involve human emotions so that you can play the man. All right? So that's one thing that's different. Your skills can define what you make. All right? Another thing that's different when it comes to gambling as opposed to or day trading as opposed to gambling is that, when you're day trading is nearly 100% dependent on you. You are the factor in day trading. You are the X factor, right? Why do we say that? Well, again, gambling, many variables, right? Many things working against you. Well, you may say, well, yeah, but I got the stock market. That's true, but there's the stock market is based on people making decisions to execute trades based on geopolitical news, bonds, a couple of other factors that fall underneath the VVP trading system, and that's it. Your job is to figure out what is the sentiment for that week, month, quarter, year. That's it. That's it. What's the sentiment? It's almost like you have four different tool sets in your bag. And all you need to figure out is, okay, what tool do I use right now? All right? Period. So define skills, right? You have a specific set of skills that you can use, and you're the factor. You're the factor. That's what makes it different. All right? So skill, strategy, mindfulness, it plays a massive role when it comes to being successful and differentiating between trading and gambling. If you like those, or rather lack those, if you lack skill, strategy, mindfulness, then you're gambling. I'm going to give it to you straight. You're gambling. You're gambling, right? So one person said, like you said in the video, I was right, but I was early to, yeah, that makes you wrong, right? I did a video. I'm not wrong. I'm early. I'm not wrong. I'm early. Well, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. You're just gambling. You just threw the dice and you averaged down. You took a gamble and it works out. And that's the problem with when you turn trading into gambling. Okay, when you turn trading into gambling, here's the problem. You may win a few times, and the brain, like an addiction, like dopamine, those sensors in the brain, it magnifies and highlights the win. It does not remember or magnify and highlight anything you did to get the win. It doesn't catalog it, which is why you have to journal. You have to write things down. Now, let's go a little deeper this. All right. If the brain, based on, serotonin levels, dopamine, whatever's kicking, the chemicals kicking in the brain, the sensation is the same as someone that's on cocaine or some type of narcotic or some type of drug, what have you. The same sensors in the brain, the same sectors in the brain, they light up when a person gets this thrill in the market. All right. You can fact check me, look it up. Okay. So if that part of the brain is actuating, it's thriving, it wants more of that feeling. What the brain literally does is it pushes out, it chooses to omit anything, the process that you took step by step to get it. So whether you won going through a checklist, writing down things in a journal, really taking your time, or you just did a lucky win, as people call it, the brain doesn't really catalog that. All the brain said was, woo, we won, let's do it again, right? So in your mind, you didn't get any data points to whether you gambled or whether you traded, which is why I encourage folks, again, shameless plug, you can call it what you want, use the Wealth 90-Day Day Trading Journal. Or just write, you got to write it down. Psychologically, there is a connection between writing things down and reflecting on them, not typing them. Now, again, researchers and analysts, they all understand this as well. There's been case studies developed over and over about the effects in memory, typing on your phone or a digital aspect, and the effects on memory with writing things down. I'll prove it to you. Anybody in the Discord over the age of, we're going to say 40, 45, 50. Raise your hand. I don't know. Some of you ladies, don't worry. You can wink, wink. You can still say you're 30. Okay. That's cool. But you can give me a wink, right? Nobody's trying to tell your age. I know. Anybody in the Discord, we're going to call you seasoned, old school, whatever. But anybody in Discord, how about this? Anybody listening to this, do you remember a time where you had to write down your phone number? There you go. Shannon gave me a wink. Anybody, do you remember a time when you had to write down your phone number? Now, this is for you young heads, okay? There was a time in human history where you had to write down your phone number. Now, I guarantee you, we're going to do a test. I guarantee you, all right? I want you to think of about 10 people you know, even your kids, teenagers, mom, dad, cousin, friend. Do you know their phone number off the top of your head? Do you know their phone number by heart? Do you know all the, can, if I told you, tell me the phone number, would you be able to state all of their phone numbers? Only a few. All right. That's some of you guys said nope. Someone said I got 4 people. Somebody said yes. That's good. Somebody said absolutely not. Right. Somebody said that's why there was a Rolodex. Exactly. All right. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to challenge you. All right. I'm going to challenge you. A few people. Okay. I'm going to challenge you with this. I guarantee you, you still remember to this day what was the first phone number you had. I guarantee you, you remember your first phone number right now, don't you? You remember it, don't you? In fact, if you've moved residences, everybody, I've seen the chat is lighting up. Yes, 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 yes. I guarantee you, if you've moved a few times, you don't remember your third or fourth address, but you remember your first address, don't you? Don't you? When they asked you in school to remember your address, to write it down, so let's get this straight now. Psychologically, you don't remember all the other million phone numbers in your phone. You don't remember all the other places that you've gone to in detail, that is, but you remember your first phone number and you remember your first home address, right? Why? Because that is how the brain works. You had to catalog, you had to write it down, and you had to memorize it. And then the brain stored it away, and it associated with something responsible. It associated it with your life, destination. In fact, growing up in the hood, parents is like, look, you need to know your address, because if something happened, you need to be able to tell the police, where you can get to, right? Right? There was responsibility attached to it, right? So that's a part of the brain, all right? That's how the brain works. Now, because when you're taking these trades and you're having poor practices and you're writing things down or not writing things down, the brain is not cataloging the process. It's not cataloging how you got to this destination. You've got to do that. And you've got to review it, and you've got to stamp in your brain. You've got to impress on your brain all of the behavioral patterns that turn into a successful trade. If you don't do that, you're gambling. You're gambling. So that's the skill, the strategy in the mindfulness part that defines trading versus gambling. The psychological aspect is that there are sensors in your brain that's going to light up when you take a trade. In order to differentiate them, in order to separate and say, okay, what's an impulse decision versus a logical, step-by-step decision? Where am I? What's the line between my emotions and my skill set to do that? The only way to do that is to look at the data. Look at the data. You've got to. In fact, scientists all around, researchers, even during the pandemic, right? When press secretary and different ones would be on the platform, they would say, we're going to trust the what? Data. Why? Because they understand that if they don't have numbers and quantifiable data, they cannot get results, period. That's the mental side of things. That's what separates trading from gambling, right? Again, gambling, anybody can do it, right? You hope to make some money. There's a thrill there. You just and you don't really know your outcome every single time. It can be different, right? Day trading, you can have a defined set of skills. A defined set of skills to get the same outcome every month, year, quarter, or day. And you are the factor. You don't have to play the man. You don't have to sit across the table and catch somebody on the river. No, you're the factor. So let's talk about risk management then. All right. This is another aspect that differentiates trading from gambling. Risk management. Now, when you're gambling, a person, they may bet something, and when they lose it, they bet it again. When they lose it, they bet it again. And then they're all over the place sometimes, right? Others, they have a defined rule set and they're okay with losing it, and they come back and do it again, even though the variables are against them. Well, you are gambling in trading if you don't have a proper risk management strategy, right? What does that look like? Stop loss strategy, right? The DAC, which is an account management and trade management strategy. Those two things are necessary if you are to be a trader and not a gambler. So you should ask yourself, okay, when I'm in a trade, do I get more excited when I'm in profit, or am I more excited that I completed a successful trade? Which emotion do I feel? Man, pat on the back, you checked your boxes, great job. Or am I saying, man, I didn't make a lot of money on that one. I only made 10%. Oh, no, no, no. Is that how you feel? You have to think about that. You have to think about that. Again, there is a fine line between trading and gambling. And these metrics are right in the middle. They're at the line. Okay? Now, gamblers oftentimes neglect a crucial aspect of trading called risk management. They gamblers, man, they move their stop losses. That's gambling. They do not have a take profit level. That's gambling. They watch their P&L all day. That's gambling. They cannot take profit because they want more because they're greedy. That's gambling. This may be tough to listen to, but do you fit in that bucket? Because we all have, and you're not going to get me to lie. I've certainly been in that bucket before, which is why I can speak to it. Right? We've been inside that bucket before. I've been there before. Right? Now, what are the tips then? We've got the differences. What separates you? And let's drill down more on 5, okay? I'm going to give you 5 key differences and tips and really drill down and magnify, right? Now, those first 3 there, those are the high-level ones. When it comes to, the house always wins, and the high level, what makes gambling different from day trading. And then individually, the mindset, the psychological aspect, and then the risk management. But let's go down the 5 tips so that you can really journal these, write these down in your journal, and work on them. All right. The first is you can do as much research as you want on gambling. You are not winning the slots. You're not winning the slots, period. Doesn't matter what you do. Any other digital gambling, it's got you. It's got you. But the difference is in day trading, research and strategy is a game changer. A game changer. So you're going to need to get tough with yourself and do research and develop a well-defined trading plan and strategy. I've already got you covered because you can use the VVP trading system, but here's the trick. You need to make it your own. You need to lean into your strength, right? The VVP trading system is a multi-layered view and approach of the market. It's essentially a check system. And within that framework, you are going to pull out and define your strength. How do you define your strength? You sit down with me for a one-on-one, you get a peer buddy, whatever. Maybe you're already at the level where you know, okay, I'm good at these 4 things, these 5 things, this one thing, whatever it is, that's your strategy. Underneath the umbrella of the trading system, VVP, it needs to be well defined. Now, you can get my setups. I've got 20 setups. One is released every single month. I've been using these things for years, and I go to the bank. It's anyone who's taken those things and they're using them, they're like, yeah. In fact, some of you guys are saying, before I get into the trade, yet, Katie's going to take that one. You know it. You know it. Why? Research, strategy based on data, well-defined trading plan. All right? Well-defined trading plan. Remember, what gets measured gets improved. I'll say it again. What gets measured gets improved. If you want to improve and you have no research, no strategy, no data, you're not getting better. You're just clicking buttons. Number 2, mindfulness and discipline. All right? Mindfulness and discipline. You have to stay focused in your trade and apply discipline and techniques to apply discipline while you're in your trade. All right? So we talked about mindfulness earlier. What does it look like? It's your ability to ask yourself certain questions. Right now, I've made this recommendation to many other traders. I'll make it to you as well. Everyone that's in here, listen. Go buy a very small whiteboard. You can use a piece of paper, whatever. I like to use a whiteboard. Write your strategy or your checklist, your trade checklist on the whiteboard. 5 steps, 10 steps, 1 steps. I don't care what it is. Put a box by each one, and every trade you take, you need to check that box. And after you take that trade and it's successful or unsuccessful, you erase the checks and you start over. This will limit your trade count every day. It will force you to get the data and it will improve your trading skills. Hands down, no doubt about it. I guarantee you, you start to do that, you'll get better data and you'll start to improve. You get your track, you'll say, okay, I see what's going on. I'm rushing trades. I'm rushing trades. So mindfulness, staying in the trade, doing things to stay in the trade and using the discipline and developing discipline. The third, we talked about it a little bit. Let's go a little deeper. Risk management techniques. All right. Risk management techniques. One very key is stop losses. Stop losses. What's more important than winning is where are you going to get out if it goes against you? Most traders, they're more excited with the thrill of winning than they are with the preventive methods that they need to take to prevent loss. So what should get you excited is saying, you know what? I don't care what happens. Whether this thing goes to the moon or not, I am getting out at this level right here. And it's going to be the exact same calculation, formula every single time. You can go research one of my videos called Distance-Based Risk to Reward. Distance-Based Risk to Reward on YouTube. Why do I use distance-based risk to reward? Because there are so many metrics and options that work against you and that are different for different traders. You've got major Greeks, minor Greeks, first order, second order, third order Greeks. All these things are changing and moving. I like to keep mine simple. 3 to 5 DTE, at in the money, 3 spaces up, 3 spaces down. That's where the big boys play. Cool. That's where I'm going to roll. So for me, I know if I look at this trade here and I've got my levels, and let's just use a round figure. I'm in SPX at 4,500. I know based on 3 to 5 DT and a .30 delta, I can withstand 5-10 points sometimes. If I'm in a 5 DTE, it's only going to be about 6 to 10%. All right, I'm good with that. I know if I need to make that back, or if I'm in a jam, I can switch to 2 things. I can go to zeros, get it back instantly. Or I can go over to futures, get it back instantly. I'm never in a pinch. That is how you come out of everyday green. You're not just, you cannot come out of the market. I get this from some folks, but those who trade with me know how it's possible. Folks can't believe it. How do you come out everyday green? It's a system. It's a system, right? You got some things working for you. Risk management. Protect your butt. Put the stop loss in place. Work on it. All right. Hey, I can't get this. I can't get the stop loss thing in play. Get some training. Get some development. Stick around. Stop jumping to 50 different communities and discords. Sit your butt down. Focus, or get out the game, because this game will snatch your soul, figuratively speaking. I can't tell you. I am. It would not be appropriate to show you what people have said, but I can give you the gist of messages, emails, and comments I have gotten over the years. Desperate people. Hey, KD, I've lost 1.7 million. I've lost 500,000. I've lost 300,000, 150,000, 80,000. Every number. I've gotten an email or a message. Every number. And I'm happy to help. I'm happy to help. But you know what's at the core is that the person has very, very poor risk management techniques, and they have no way to really get themselves out of a hole. They don't know how to deal with drawdown. That's at the core, because you're going to take a loss. And when they come to me, they're so beat down, they want a miracle. And so for those of you who's listened to this and you haven't gotten there just yet, you're not at that point, I'm giving you the game now. Risk management, hard stop loss, distance-based risk reward. Use the DAC. You got money to trade tomorrow, you're all right. You'll be good. Don't blow your account. All right. Number 4. And this one, this could be the biggest one. This could be 5 differences and tips to separate a trader from a gambler. Number 4, emotional control. Emotional control. Has this ever happened to you? Again, you get into a trade, it's in profit 20%, 25%, 30%. Ooh, you're getting excited. 35%, 40. It's coming up to your target. You've done the math in your head. Whoa, boy, by the time it gets to my level, it's going to be 50%. I can't believe it. I made 50% on my money, man. Then it hits your target, 50%. And in your mind, you say, I wonder if I can get it to 60. I wonder if it goes to 70. I wonder. And you leave it alone, and the drawdown starts to happen. And you say, well, I only gave up 5%. It's down to 45. I only gave up 10%. It's down now to 40. I only gave up 15. It's down to 35. And before you know it, you watch your trade go right back to break even. And then it goes to zero. And then it goes a little negative. And then you know what you say to yourself? It'll come back. It'll come back. Why? Your emotions aren't in check. And it prevented you from applying a proper risk management strategy. In fact, some folks have asked me, hey, man, do you have anything that can force me to get out of a trade? And yeah, we do. Right? There are some folks in the Discord who have built applications and different, buttons and different things to just shut the computer down. And that's cool. There are other strategies that I have used myself in times past. When I take X amount of losses, I close the application and walk away and I shut down my charts so that no matter what, even if I wanted to take a trade, I would have to set my charts back up in order to view the screen, which would take time. By that time, the trade is gone. I've missed it. So that was some things I used to do back in the day, right? But what will you do to control your emotions? Here are some tips. All right. Number one, you need to be in an environment that can help you to stay calm, right? Be in an environment. So you got kids running around, kids coming in, kicking a karate, chopping the door down, or employees running around. That's not an environment to help you stay calm, period. All right. Number two, read books, right? You need to read books that go beyond trading, personality books, psychological things to improve the mind, right? Things to help you, right? Manage stress, manage trades, get some tricks like that, right? Personal development, coaching, being in this community, it's all going to help. And the list goes on. But the idea here is you need to control your emotions. So to do that, let's get some data first. I would tell you to build a trade plan. Build a trade plan. In that trade plan, the first thing every trader should do, I've done it on YouTube, I've done it with individuals, and I never help someone without doing this, is we first start by building a trade identity. I need to know who you are. And I ask certain questions about your childhood, about your upbringing, right? We need to get down to it. Do you want to get better or not? If you don't think that stuff matters, then you're a gambler. You're gambling, period. That's what separates. Any jabroni can sit down in a casino and play. They let anybody in there. If you're not a crook, they let anybody in there. The market will not allow anybody to be profitable over a sustained period of time. True or true? The market will kick you out. If it doesn't beat you down mentally, your capital is gone. Why? Because you're going to have to learn to control your emotions. So that's the fourth difference and tip. Can't sit down at this table without emotions in check. You won't last long. Then the fifth tip I'm going to give you is pretty obvious: continuous learning. You need to be on a path of continuous learning and improvement. That's the difference, right? There's not a whole lot of moving parts to gambling. You don't have to, unless you're trying to be a professional gambler, nobody reads a book. You learn how to play poker, and you play poker. You learn how to play, craps or whatever, and you just start playing. Then you get from a buddy who won a little bit of money, you learn a new little strategy, or maybe this is going to win, and you convince yourself you can win, and that's it. But not so with the stock market. Every day, you need to be engaged, do your pre-market, work at this thing, take courses. Doesn't always have to be from me, folks. I think I have the best out, and we've got even more. The best is yet to come. But hey, whatever floats your boat, right? I tell folks all the time, and I think you guys see this, I've got my live account posted out there that I do a few times a year, right? I've got screenshots. I've got live call outs in here. I track my trades for you. They're in a spreadsheet, all this stuff to show you, the money, all right? That's an element of proof, right? So there's no amount of money you can make in the market that's ever going to take money out of my pocket. Someone says, well, why do you do this? Well, why wouldn't you, right? You want to trade with people. Trading is lonely. period. I'm sitting in my office by myself. My wife isn't here with me. She's doing something else. And while you make money, money is fine, but who cares if you can't do it with other folks that you have a good time with? Then if you have something of value, you should offer it to people, right? I wish I had somebody to give me the game like this when I first started. And I had some people, but I didn't listen. And then I had to come back around, right? Some of you guys know my story, right? So if I had somebody to just give it to me, and especially when I was younger in the hood, I didn't have anybody like this. I didn't have anybody to say, hey, man, look, if you just learn, instead of, I wanted to be in electronics. Instead of doing that, let me show you how to use that same mental energy and structure your life this way. You can still do the electronics thing, but let me show you how to invest early on. I'm talking like 13, 14 years old, early on. You got to be on a path of continuous education. So it doesn't hurt me to help people, basically, is what I'm saying to you. But you do not have to only get the development from me, but you need to have resources, books, and courses. You need to be engaged in them in some way. The minute you feel like, and this happens a lot, and I love it. I love when this happens. People come into my Discord, they may move down the training stack, they get it real fast. They book everything, and that's fine. And then they leave. I love that. Because that person is a fool. If they think that just collecting data is what gets you to your next level. It's not the information, folks. It's the information with your ability to apply it over a sustained period of time that will equal a good trader. If you talk to any good trader and you ask them what was the one advice, the one thing you can give to people that helped you succeed, they will all tell you, just stay in the game. You'll get it. What drastically and significantly can reduce your learning curve? Coaching, community, proper trade system. But if you just flat out stay in the game and you have an endless amount of money to lose, you'll eventually come around to finding your level, finding your niche, and operating in that. But if you don't have a lot of money to lose and you don't want to lose money, the fastest way to learn something is to be inside of a training curriculum, period. A continuous education program. All right. So those are the 5 differences and tips, right? Differentiates trading and gambling, right? For myself personally, I don't know any traders who were addicted to gambling, but who've become successful in the market to the tune that I know successful traders are. Now, there are some traders out there who used to be gamblers and they're now. I personally wouldn't trust them. That's just my personal opinion. I know it sounds weird, but I wouldn't trust them because gambling is a very bad addiction. And when people have a problem in gambling, think deeply about most people that you know. When you have a problem in gambling, does that person go off into life and all of a sudden become successful in any other financial endeavor? It's not common. Sometimes they do, but oftentimes they've got some problems to work out because the problem of gambling is just, a symptom of the underlying problem. And there's something else there that a person has to work on. So I haven't seen a lot of people become successful that used to be addicted to gambling. In fact, when it comes to folks with addiction, everyone knows this, I won't train you. I think you need to focus on the mental aspect of your life first and get that straight before you start focusing on money, right? Because you have an insatiable desire to make money in the market or gamble, it'll not satisfy you. So that's more of a personal thing. But I will say this. I have applied these 5 tips and strategies to you to help you get to where you need to be. I've applied them in my life and they've worked. All right. So let's talk about the takeaways. All right. What are the overall commonalities in gambling and in trading? Well, people gamble because they want to make money. They get a thrill. It's fun. And they trade. But they keep going back because deep down inside, they feel like they're the exception. Those are the common areas. And the house does win. Well, in day trading, you can do some things every single day that separates you, puts you apart. You can have very defined skills that can get you to win no matter what. And you are the X factor. Now, what are those 5 things we talked about? Research and strategy, mindfulness and discipline, risk management, emotional control, continuous learning. You do those 5 things, give yourself time, and you're gonna be unstoppable in the market. I've said it many times, it takes 3 to 5 years. Whether you're in my community, whether you know me for that time or not, doesn't matter. It takes 3 to 5 years for you to get to the point where you can confidently say, I am coming out of the day green. If you have that flutter, that butterfly feeling in your stomach, you may have to work on your emotions because you may be leaning into a more of a gambling personality. But I have confidence in you. I got confidence that you can be successful. You can make it if you apply the things that we've talked about, right? Everybody has an interesting journey with challenges and things along the way. And that's what makes the trader special, is that you've persevered through those things and you are moving forward. So implement the things that we talked about. This has been our Mindset Mondays. Mindfulness trading, distinguishing trading from gambling. I hope this has been helpful for you guys. Like and subscribe. Check us out. Go to the podcast channel on YouTube and on social media and other platforms like Spotify, and listen to it as much as you like. I will get it posted for the private channel. Let's get back to crushing the market. KD for the Wealth Wells, signing out.